That's just how it works in Chicago. You work in the U.S. You move to where your house of worship is. So
5 seconds.
I don't either, but it's a really nice part of the city actually, or a nice suburb. I think 35 seconds. I know it's so sick, isn't it? I love it. So he said that he hasn't faced, basically all he says in this interview is he hasn't faced UR in a while. They haven't faced Quincy in over a year, but they're pretty confident. And in fact, he goes on to say that he respects EG a little bit more in this one. Not like in a mean way, but like, you know, he did bring the topic to OG. 5 seconds, back to cameras. 3, 2, 1. Shout out to our content team for being able to snag an interview with Sumail after their match yesterday versus Nigma. And, well, now it's going to be back to the Hassan Bowl here. It's going to be the Usurper, that is the older brother, trying to take down the King. We'll see if they can get it done here as we get underway for our draft in game number 2.
Like these storylines, the Hassan Bowl from American football to Game of Thrones. These guys cover so many genres. And Quincy Crew, they saw last game like, you know what? I do like that combo. I agree. And they start with, like I said, I think one of the strongest starts in Dota 2 right now, the Dragon Knight Hoodwink. Since now, because I can get to explain this a bit more. If you already know, you'll just follow along. So the reason why these two picks work so well is because the Dragon Knight offers some really simple catch, which sets up for Hoodwink's insane amount of damage, so you can go for easy pickoffs. But Dragon Knight brings that tower push that allows you to catch even further and even more dangerous areas. Because Dragon Knight is a tank, he can actually tank for Hoodwink most of the time in these situations. So you're able to go really far, take good objectives, and pretty much kill anyone on the map. And on top of that, Hoodwink brings some really nice dead lane control that Dragon Knight sometimes lacks, because he doesn't have that kind of he's really tanky, but he doesn't have a great escape. So if you catch him in the wrong position, you'll die, and Hoodwink can supplement for that. So while Dragon Knight brings the offensive potential when it comes to push, Hoodwink brings a bit more defensive potential, and when it comes to killing, Dragon Knight's more the offensive and Hoodwink is the defensive and the damage. Such a good combo, very, very strong.
Now I'm considering where OG are going to be looking to lane this Axe, or how they're going to be looking to play it. During their win yesterday, ILTW, the Giga Chad he is, made some really impressive plays on the Axe himself, nearly landing a double dunk onto a couple of heroes. Shut down by Sumail, though. Again, the reaction time on the King just a little bit too good for that, and ended up winning the game. But they definitely saw the strength of the Axe carry, because as soon as they fought, they had took a fight right around the 21-minute mark, and they just got completely crushed. That was Nigma all of a sudden seizing control of the game. What was the cause of that? Well, of course, it was going to be the Axe shard, right? That thing is just still ridiculously strong, even if it in its nerfed form.
And the Axe plus Phoenix is always a solid combination, right? Any sort of catch with Phoenix is nice. I think one of the strengths of the Axe Phoenix, which is actually very similar to the Trim Protector Phoenix, is that Axe is a BKB piercing disable, right? When you use Mars, there was a moment where if the enemy team had some Phoenix counters and they could activate the BKB, unless your egg was really well placed, or really a good lineup against them, you had no control. And there was a point where this would fall off. Axe Phoenix, not so much the case. Yes, it's not as easy to execute, that's true, but it's still not too difficult. And you are a really, really good anti-BKB lineup, which takes away a lot of the options against Phoenix, like the Lifestealer Jug. Not as powerful when you have the Axe Phoenix. I like this combo too. I think it's a strong opener by OG. For Quincy Crew, there's more pickoff and pushing potential. For OG, the 5-on-5 is already looking up.
Yeah, like you said, I think something that's worth just highlighting is the fact that it scales. And I mean, I know you said it, but just to highlight that a bit more, compared to other combos, compared to other offlaners that do give you a lot of the same amounts of control, like a Mars, like a Tidehunter would be, this is going to scale beautifully throughout the entire game. Plus, you've got an insane amount of healing now if we decide to go for the Holy Locket build on this Phoenix with Sunray, so it could potentially turn into something pretty crazy. This is also going to dissuade from another popular pick that we tend to see for basically, we saw it a ton at the major, and that's going to be the Winter Wyvern, right? Another really powerful counter initiation tool. It feels really weak to pick the Wyvern into the Phoenix, because usually Phoenix can just set up a Supernova outside of the Winter's Curse AoE. If there's someone Cold Embrace, he just sets up the Sun Ray onto them, and they don't have any Sun Block. They don't have the chance in the Cold Embrace, so they just get burnt alive.
Exactly. But you can pick it together with the Phoenix. The only issue is that you're gonna have an issue of catch, right? Quincy could punish that with, say, a Storm Blade. They go for the Abaddon. Okay, already setting up for this idea. Nice little save. And we saw yesterday Viking GG, right? Running a similar lineup. What was it? Abaddon with
Lesh, I believe.
with Lesh, yeah. It was with Lesh, but what was the carry that they were playing though in that game? They ended up playing, was it that carry Doom game?
It was. Was it? I know they did play a carry Shad Doom.
Against the, no, that was against the Darkseer. That was against the Darkseer. I'll tell you in a second.
Sure.
'Cause I remember seeing this combo yesterday from Viking GG against Gambit. It was the Abaddon together with the Lifestealer, actually. It wasn't to deal with a Phoenix, but it was a similar idea against a Tide, just to completely cancel him. Could be an option here. I mean, Lifestealer is much better against Axe, even if you can catch him with the Berserk's Call. Works really nicely with Abaddon for obvious reasons. But no, it's gonna be more of an NA classic, the Luna instead. Yep. OG knows how to counter this Luna. Your biggest asset is Luna is your movement speed. If you counter that with Surge, you put yourself in a pickle. And now we see the carry Axe coming into play.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's the right call to make because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can proc counter Helix on all instant attacks, which Luna's Moonglaves do count as. So you have the chance to be spinning quite a bit, even aggressively, and of course discounting even when the Manta and Shard timing comes through from the Axe. You're going to be able to tear through this teamfight rather quickly. Of course, Axe can dunk through everything, so Abba does need to be a bit careful on his HP if he's not going to trigger the ulti preemptively, and it's also a really strong pick versus if this is to be an offlane DK, which it looks like it is, unless you want to throw it mid. Axe does nicely in this lane as well. DK gets a lot of his harass out just through right clicks alone and being tanky, but he's not going to be so tempted to do that versus all the pure damage that this Axe will be throwing out. In fact, I want to say this is something OG, of course they knew this before, but this is something they experienced firsthand yesterday as they were playing into the ILTW Axe with a DK in that offlane.
True, and another point in favor of the Axe carry here is that he's honestly the best, well, not the best, but one of the best Agi carry destroyer. Because usually they don't tank up as much until later points of the game. Like if you go for any sort of strength item early on the Luna, for example, you're gonna slow down your farm as a result, right? You want to be a bit of a glass cannon so you can farm faster and then proceed to get more stats. Axe punishes that so hard because, as you said, the pure damage. In addition to the fact that Berserker's Call is undispellable, so Abaddon won't do anything with that against that. That you add to the fact that Darkseer can help you initiate, so you might not even need to rush that blink and go for Manta much more reliably. OG, I mean, this draft I actually like a lot. I want to see how Quincy responds to this. They need some percentage damage. I think that would be a good idea actually to deal with the Axe. I like the Death Prophet a lot as an idea.
I do as well, actually. The issue, oh yeah. Thing is though, for Quincy, I feel like because it's now an Axe carry and you're playing into what is some pretty mean initiation here. It's a lot of like skill dependent initiation with a hook shot, a vacuum, and an Axe, but it's all really strong if they do connect. Yep. It scares me a little bit because our best counter initiation is just having Abba in front to tank things, but OG are just gonna play around him. Or proc the ulti and then ignore him in the fights.
OG, we need a mid laner right now, by the way, for setting up. We're getting some space here. What do you think you could run here? Because OG is assuming the DK will be flexed into mid. Do you pick up something against that? Do you hard commit into that idea?
I'm trying to think of a Thompson here on this mid lane that can fulfill that.
It's against a DK. I was actually thinking the Pugna would be in it.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? Because then, of course, with the last
mid
pick,
game, I think that's kind of...
Yeah.
It's been a while since we see Thompson snap. That's another good idea. Okay, I mean, a good hero, honestly. Tiny? Certainly not what I was expecting. I don't disagree with your lineup very well. There's ways to deal with it. I think DK can hold it enough.
Yeah, that's true. So it gives Quincy the option of picking a bespoke offlaner should they choose, and I think OG, of course,
damage. Yep, that's good. I like that very much.
Once again, a Doom versus a Darkseer matchup, right? So we could look for that Satyr creep and go for the Purge in order to try and buy some space for your Luna. Doom versus an Axe, still pretty strong, of course. He has the Shard. We will need something to... Actually, you can't break... No, you can break that because it's added to the counter Helix.
Yeah, you break the counter Helix.
Yep.
So the Axe is a good idea here. Deal with the Axe. Consideration. You have the Infernal Blade percentage damage against Tiny and Axe. In fact, Doom is really great because he has a huge HP pool, so this amount of damage, like, you have no physical source of damage, or no large physical source. So the Doom HP pool essentially protects you from the Iron Shell, from the Avatars, from the Berserker's Call. Doom farms fast, so he's one of the better pipe carriers in the game, and that will cancel the Tiny to a degree. I like this pickup a lot. I think Quincy really fixed up the draft here towards the end. I mean, they kind of got bamboozled here with the Axe carry, but I honestly like the Quincy crew.
Yeah, I do as well. I at the end of the day, we're just going to be a little bit too tanky. Obviously, MSS is going to be minced meat. They're going to hunt him especially easily. Tiny, or Topson, when he does get his Blink Dagger, is going to be looking for kills primarily onto him. Because if he looks for Yawar, he's going to find that Yawar is going to be a little bit too protected. The Kingsguard have mutinied, and you know, they've got a great kind of Kingsguard for the would-be usurper here with the Abba. So it's going to be difficult to try and jump him. But that's kind of a similar story as well for this Doom, for this DK. Tanky. This does kind of make the Phoenix pick feel stronger, but it's still, you know, a while until we're going to be feeling those rays of Sunny D, you know, really do all the damage.
In fact, the shard here is huge value for the. It's so powerful to have him on the to have the Sunray this game in general. Hell, you might even consider building a vessel at some point, like a Clock or Phoenix. A bad vessel build. Yeah, the Abaddon.
Yeah, it's a position 5 Phoenix, so he's going to be a bit restricted on his farm for no-tail. If it was a 4 Phoenix, I wouldn't mind throwing it a little bit back to the Singapore Major, where we saw a lot of carries, or sorry, position 4 Phoenixes kind of just go straight into Refresher. You know, 4 Sunrays in a fight is pretty bonkers, especially with this many heroes, that it is going to start melting. And Luna, who has good attack speed and a crappy range, is going to be hard-pressed to either commit or run away from a Supernova. It's a hard decision to make in the crunch of the battle.
I agree with your point that you were saying earlier. Like Luna has a good King's Guard, Queen's Guard, I guess.
Queen's Guard, yeah.
Queen's Guard for Luna. You know, she can do her terror stacks as a oh wow, this is really going against the anime idea, huh? But she has good protecting cores in the Doom and the DK cores that can easily go in. I feel like Abaddon could do the same thing. The save here is not really that great. Your save is really just against the hookshot, perhaps. Maybe the Avalanche to something. But at least you have some healing from the Abaddon. This is a game where SVG could consider the Holy Locket himself just to amp that heal. But I do like the draft overall by Quincy. I think both drafts are pretty solid. I just feel like this time Quincy has been able to adapt to OG's draft much better.
30 seconds to battle.
Yep, I'd concur with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Because last time, I think I didn't really see the draft's problems until Sumail was, you know, just shoving all of the illusions down into the lanes. Then it was obviously a little bit apparent, and by then, Quincy just weren't in a position to do anything about it. I think this time they've given themselves a pretty nice out of this game, as we'll see Sumail the King go versus the Abba, who's yet to put a scope on anything. There it is now. It will be a Phonic Shield, but it's 3 for the likes of OG. They will be unable to get through this Abba, though. It's a little bit too tanky.
Very good.
It's nice right-click speed there. Fast hands on Sumail.
This early, I want to point out this really small play by No-Tail I loved. He purposely missed his first Fire Spirit to trigger the Aphotic Shield, right? Because he was trying to, like, be on point. Okay, I'm not moving. He's definitely not going to miss it. Purposely misses the first one because he gets dispelled anyway. Immediately hits him with the second one right after, and he couldn't dispel it. Small things, but I like that. I like that idea. I also like the offensive dual lane. Abaddon, traditionally one of the best dual lane cores, or supports rather, ever, honestly. And he deals really well with the Axe, deals nicely with the Phoenix as well. I think he's actually quite a hard counter, and that way you get the Doom versus Darkseer matchup, which is the ideal matchup for Lelis. Especially if you find a Perch Creep, there's no way he's dying here.
Yeah, Lelis is going to be going into this Midas build here, presumably on the Doom. At least that's what he's queued up here in his quick buy. We'll see here if that changes as the lane continues to develop. Mid lane, not going to be too exciting here. Topson, of course, is without the toss, isn't going to have a whole lot of kill threat, but top lane, there's some kill threat onto No-Tail, because they will be able to punish him for taking the level 1 Fire Spirit. Sumail even taking a bit of extra damage.
It's going to be... I mean, I think as Axe, you actually don't need to dominate the lane if you're carry, because you recover quite nicely as well. But it does suck a bit that you're up against a ranged hero. You don't feel like you can manage if you're strong early game. And the Abaddon is also not a hero that Axe likes to deal once they have the curse. I like that he went for the 1 point in curse. Yesterday we saw Celery, for example, going full heal, and I appreciate how kind of person Celery is, and he wants to just help his teammates, but I think the curse is really valuable against any melee lane. Oh, he took a last hit there. SVG, no,
SVG,
your shield took a last hit. What is this?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Need all the farm we can get on this Luna. Yeah, I like it here. It is going to put a lot of pressure onto No-Tail. Of course, it's going to force him to trade a little bit less than he would like to. Of course, Phoenix always able to get kind of the last laugh with the Icarus dive as Sumail. Got to be a little bit careful here. Otherwise, thinking about going back for that 4th stack for the curse, but we'll think better of it. As,
there's that thought process where like, oh, if I hit him, I'll hit him even faster. Oh, but then he'll spin even more.
Then he'll spin. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but now he's going to die Sumail for free?
Whoa.
Genuinely just went back for it, and SVG, that Orb of Venom, it's punished him pretty hard here, giving it so much space to Yawar. And yeah, it's true that you can recover, but the idea is not to die in the lane, unfortunately. Sumail doesn't have the highest armor early, so the damage from the Luna and the Abaddon really does pile up. Really good base damage on an Abaddon.
Yep, both of these slows being incredibly annoying. Yawar, not like this is too bad lane for him anyway. You know, very similar to something like a Timbersaw lane. You don't mind using all of your mana on Lucent Beams just to be able to harass and get Sumail within that kill range. Thompson already utilizing the toss here versus Quinn. But Quinn, 2 points into the Dragon's Blood here. He's gone now for 1-1-2. It was 0-1-2 at level 3 for him. Bottom, they are fighting though versus Lelis.
Oh, the vacuum sends him back, and Lelis might just die to this. Seb, just in range of the Iron Shell. Lelis a bit too fast. No, creeps are coming for him. Oh, the creeps are attacking Lelis. You ate my brother, now you must die. Seb will fall though to the acorn shot from MSS, but that was quite the revenge of the creeps. The Scorched Earth triggered all the aggro around the area.
Yeah, Lelis got ganked by the neutrals right there, which wasn't expected, unfortunately, for him.
Finally, some justice. Doom's eating creeps every year, and they never get any retribution.
It is at the very least a deny. So, you know, it's not the best news for Lelis. They are able to get the kill onto Seb. But it's not too bad either, because he's going to be able to get the free TP on back. He doesn't have to use any of these tangos, and without a healing salve, he would have been pretty low HP for the rest of the laning stage, which is not what you want versus this Darkseer Clock lineup. The top lane, though, No-Tail does not have the Icarus dive, but LOA just doesn't have the HP here, as the glaives that you are throwing here, triggering a couple of these spins are more than enough to almost completely kill the Appa.
Oh, but so since Yawar is still having a pretty nice farming lane, you know, and definitely he's a bit faster of a farmer than the Axe. I don't think it's too worrisome right now. The onus right now for OG, I think, stands on a really strong Thompson that did win his lane against the DK, and will now start to gank all over the map as he likes to do. Oh, Thompson's actually considering a Midas here. Interesting. As per usual, you look at whatever Thompson's building and you go, oh, okay. Maybe he's looking to be like a secondary option for a carry in case the Axe doesn't work out, you know, instead of a Tempo Tiny, being able to rotate into being a true carry in the late game. I don't mind this with a Shard build.
You know, I kind of want to think that you swap the lanes here, of course, going for the Luna versus the Axe of Sumail. And they asked, hey, do you want to switch these lanes? And Sumail went, nah, it's okay, I'll just beat him.
Yeah, might be. Yeah. It's actually a true brother against brother lane.
It is, yeah. And I mean, good denies though on Yawar. I think that's what that tip was about. Must have gotten a deny on the range creep. Our Tiny though is looking for a gank. He will be hard pressed to connect this one because he is sitting underneath a freshly placed Quincy Observer Ward. So he's going to go ahead and rotate back to the mid lane. Take Grow at level 6, by the way, here for our Tiny.
Yeah, not like a ganking Tiny. Wait, Sumail in the top lane could be in trouble. I don't think he's going to die here. No-Tail's here to cover him. Nice Spirit, and Sumail should be fine. In fact, SVG now in trouble, but as the magic stick, we're not going to die to the Spirits either. So yeah, Thompson's going for like almost a carry for the mid lane, playing it more like a win condition, probably allowing Sumail to be more of the tempo controller this game, and the space creator, you can call it. I think that works out, honestly. I think Carry Axe is best played when you play him with tempo, so I don't mind that. And Tiny could mitigate your weakness in the late game. As I said, Tiny Shard, honestly, a legitimate carry. They played it in China once.
What do you think we're going to see then? Do you think this is going to be like a throwback to the TI9 Tinies going for that Echo Saber Ags into the Daedalus, or like
no,
what?
I think it's the carry Tiny that we saw in China a while ago. I mean, not with the Midas added, but like the S and Y. Maybe probably still a Blink Dagger, but like, and get by the shard as soon as you can. You just play like a normal strength core, honestly. That's what I'm thinking. And it's all Karass eventually, like the IO Tiny. You know, back in those days when the IO Tiny was a thing. I think that's how you're gonna build.
Okay, I like the idea of that. Then we'll see how it works
Thompson,
out.
so it could just be Midas E-Blade. I mean, knowing him.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so
Good point. MSS gonna find himself in a bit of trouble here. We've got now still no cogs actually ready for him, but they won't even need it. With the vacuum pulling him back into his death. Double Iron Shell level 3 now, quickly tearing through the squirrel.
an easy kill, obviously, in MSS. Not much you can do against Darks here. Another, I mean, honestly, anything that can catch you in the trees pretty much kills you. The vacuum is quite crucial. It's just very as well.
Alright, King has already moved into the jungle here, farming up a couple of stacks. Yava's going to be here, just soak a little bit of the experience. There he is, now up to level 4. But with that Vanguard completed, there's not really such an easy way to kill this Axe right now, unless you get an Eclipse onto him.
SVG just running in and out. There's only one true king, actually joking. One true king! Oh. Keeps trying to harass here. So taking away the experience kind of important, honestly. SVG does, I mean, he just gets a free level from this. He compares his levels to the Phoenix trying to sap experience in the lane. Kind of even. No Till trying to protect his tower from my result. No Till. Dive. But Bushwhack, loose beam on top of that. They're chaining stun as well. Still a bit too fast. We'll get away.
Yeah.
He's in trouble. He does have a Doom. I'm sorry, he used the Doom with the Sabda. And we'll get the kill as a result. SVG even comes in here to heal him back up.
Quinn, though, still taking
trouble. We have a Dragon Tail available. For now, slowing it down. Seb has the surge and now ready. TPs instead. Do they have enough push to punish this? No, they don't. Seb gets back home.
Neutral's helping out there. Yeah, he's going to be able to escape. They will eventually catch to no-tail top lane, so they do punish him not having that Ignis dive at the ready. This does allow Luna to then cut the weight and start applying some pressure into this top lane. The nice part about switching and kind of going aggro with your carry in the side lane is that you've already made the rotation, right? So this is normally where Luna would want to be at this stage of the game. The jungle a little bit, sure, but then eventually looking to push top lane as there goes Thompson. We have a toss kill there onto LOA. That's going to be just him. A smart rotation. He has a ward here, so he might have seen him eventually start walking on over in that direction, but no ward there for the vision. Just a nice kill.
I mean, top lane and preventing them from just having a free push. It's actually kind of useful for the team. It's giving his team a bit of liberty to go and gank and do other stuff. Lanes. The problem though is that if he keeps dying, he's just also giving them a free creep. MSS.
Yeah. Doesn't have Icar.
There's Icar shot still available. Oh, this was a bait the whole time. We're doing a rotation. No, No-Tail's already dead. But Thompson here kills the courier. And might also kill carry on top. So has the Berserker call. Oh, nice bushwhack though. He hits him out one extra time, and that Soldier War's life.
Laszlo
finds Laszlo away. Oh no, it's not going to be easy for Laszlo to get away, and he's going to die. Simple on the show. While look at even set up. Quinn and MSN's coming in. The reinforcements going for Saksa. They stop Clockwork to go to the wall. Escape thanks to the slow. Saksa gets hit by the bushwhack. No chance. He's going to die as well.
So by the way, going for the very classic Darkseer build here. Just going Vanguard, not too rare of an item and a great one to have, of course. This is the Luna, then straight in Crimson Guard, so he's prepping for some earlier engagement, hoping to keep his foot on the gas versus the likes of Quincy crew, making sure that this Luna is not going to be able to scale. I think the game plan this time around for Quincy is that if they can't take this late game, they'd be more than happy to do so. They're probably looking at this lineup that OG has and going, oh yeah, Luna late game will absolutely crush these guys. They just got to get there. OG are of course going to do everything in their powers to stop that from happening. As here's Midas now being delivered to Thompson. He is keeping up the Blink Dagger next, so still looking to be able to accelerate his farm through a couple of, other buttons.
It looks out for them. This deviation from the build. It honestly might just completely lose them the tempo and also the late game if Tiny can make it, because the Blink Dagger will be much more delayed. But the idea is pretty solid. As you play with the Axe tempo a bit more, right? Because you go Blink Vanguard on the Axe, so he's just gonna go for the Yash straight up. And then that way you play maybe around the 20-minute mark. Tiny is not ganking too early. You don't have ganking partners, so instead you spend this time farming. I think
No-Tail. This dives right into MSS, unfortunately. He will be taken down. Breathe fire, killing the Phoenix, as he will go down just he was born in flames.
But meanwhile, you know, I feel like No-Tail is pressured here because he's like, okay, my mid is farming, my carry's farming, my offlaner is farming. I need to create space. But since you're just Phoenix, just die for that space.
Yep. Blocks the camp while he's at it, at least.
I mean, the tier 1 still up top. That's the job done.
Yeah, we haven't pushed any towers yet for the likes of OG. Thompson now, this bonus attack speed is really, really nice to have on a tiny. Unsurprisingly, a hero with 0 agi gain quite a bit from bonus attack speed items. And with the trees, so that is going to allow them to have some pretty significant tower damage in. Well, making haste here towards the DD route. We'll think better of it because Surge Shot is top speed. We'll be able to beat them there. DD, boy, the big lane time.
MSX, get away, nice little bushwhack. Well, that's going at the scurry, goes to the tree. Glock's too fast, that Surge. MSX using the sharpshooter to get away, he'll survive the Phonic shield. And the punishment will be Saksa. Nice little shield there towards the end. And well, MSS thinking of the sharpshooter.
Yeah, Quinn well was sitting on 2k gold, had the BKB queued up, but decided to go proactively into the blink instead. I like this a lot. We'll see here if Here can look to punish it. Thompson still has his DD room in the bottom, holding onto it as No-Tail. Icarus diving aggressively, perhaps just for vision. Holding on to that supernova, deciding against to drop it here and now. Duar is in the vicinity, so he could look to join these fights, but does not have the point in Eclipse, so wouldn't be much value in a team fights other than the click damage and the occasional boost in beam. You can see that acquiesce the mid lane tower. OG happy with progress here. We'll move into the jungle and load to boot the Luna.
Yeah, over the Luna jungle completely. More importantly, also swap jungles. Over the much more valuable Radiant jungle, because now naturally Quincy will have to, if they want to regain the jungle, it's kind of impossible, and you can still put 1 or 2 useful wards in top like they're doing. No regain control. Hook shot actually read well, but Quinn not gonna catch this guy. This guy plays Ember Spirit. What are you thinking?
Yeah, and thanks to this observer ward, Toxa thinking he's got a ward up on the high ground. A good guess. He might decide to ferry out a couple more sentries, because there's no way he just makes that blink like that off of the sound cue alone.
You see him all over the place. There's a ward here or here. They're using so many sentries. I can't find this ward. Sometimes the best hiding spot is in plain sight, huh?
Very true.
Literally out of the outpost, like barely out of the range of the outpost.
It's a good ward though. I've watched tons of replays of keeping an eye on warding. Usually the most contested ward spots are right here on the cliff, and then the second one that they like to put wards in is going to be right next to the outpost. This one is just simply dewarded too often, and this one's a bit sneakier, and it feels a little bit awkward to put a sentry right there next to your outpost to protect it.
Let's see. I watch this. I'm gonna guess this. It's gonna expire. Ended up being pretty. Sorry, OG's gonna watch this. Take advantage of that, and DK continues to farm. They're gonna need for him to become carry too, if Nine Axe will both beef up themselves.
Yep. We sometimes see, by the way, just continuing to talk about wards, I guess, war segment of this cast. We sometimes see the same done here on the in the Radiant side, but the trees are a little bit worse, and this staircase is not as frequently accessed by Radiant heroes compared to the dire double staircase here. They are able to go into escape in time here, making sure that they're not going to lose anyone out from the jungle as Quincy looks to re-establish control.
Not to flame of those warding spots.
No, of course.
In the middle of the game, having to get, you just see that hook shot, you go, where is it? You know, just sentries. It's not that big. They probably don't think about it in the heat of the moment. They are players after all. We have full vision and punching. Now, give you a smoke coming out for OG. Let's this Thompson now with his blink dagger ready.